They say you should keep your friends close and your enemies closer. But what do you do when your best friend becomes both? My name is Joyce, and this is the story of how my best friend married my father. Iyabo and I met in secondary school when we were just 14 years old. She was the new girl in class, sitting alone at the back with her worn-out school bag and faded uniform. While other students whispered and giggled about her old clothes, I walked up to her and offered to share my lunch. "Thank you," she said quietly, her eyes filling with gratitude. From that day, we became inseparable. Iyabo came from a poor family. Her mother sold vegetables in the market, and her father had abandoned them years ago. My family wasn't rich, but we were comfortable. My father owned a small printing business, and my mother was a nurse at the general hospital. I didn't mind sharing what I had with Iyabo. I gave her my old clothes, helped her with school fees when her mother couldn't pay, and invited her to our house almost every weekend. My parents treated her like their own daughter. "Joyce, you have a good heart," my mother would say, "but be careful, not everyone appreciates kindness." I would laugh and wave her concerns away. "Mama, Iyabo is my sister. She would never hurt me." Inside life.
3 months after my mother's death, I came home early from work one day. I had forgotten an important file. I needed to retrieve it. As I approached the house, I heard laughter coming from inside. My father's deep voice mixed with Iyabo's high-pitched giggles. I opened the door quietly and froze. My father was sitting on the sofa, and Iyabo was feeding him rice with her hands. Her head rested on his shoulder. They looked up when they saw me, but neither of them moved apart quickly. There was no guilt in their faces. "Joyce, you're home early," Iyabo said casually, as if nothing was wrong. What is going on here?" I asked, my voice shaking. My father cleared his throat. "Joyce, sit down. We need to talk." "Talk about what, Daddy? Why is my friend feeding you like you're a baby?" Iyabo stood up, her hands on her hips. "Joyce, your father is a grown man. He is lonely. Your mother is gone, and he needs companionship." "Companionship?" I repeated, my voice rising. "Iyabo, you're my age mate. You're supposed to be my friend." My father raised his hand. "Joyce, calm down. Iyabo has been very helpful to this family. She takes care of me when you are at work. What's wrong with showing appreciation?" I looked between them, my heart pounding. This is not right. This is not normal. I grabbed my file and left the house, my hands trembling with anger and confusion. Everything changed when my mother died. I was 22 years old, fresh from university, and the loss broke something in our family. My father, who had been a strong, cheerful man, became quiet and withdrawn. He would sit in his chair every evening, staring at my mother's photograph, tears running down his face. Iyabo was there through it all. She had just finished her diploma program and was looking for work. She came to our house every day to help with cooking and cleaning. "Don't worry, Joyce," she would say. "I'm here for you and your father. We're family." I was grateful. Between my new job at a bank and my grief, I had little energy for housework. Iyabo took over everything. She cooked my father's favorite meals, washed his clothes, and kept the house spotless. At first, I thought nothing of it. She was just being a good friend. But then I started noticing small things. The way she would sit very close to my father on the sofa, how she laughed too loud at his jokes, the bright red lipstick she suddenly started wearing around the house, the tight dresses that replaced her usual simple clothes. "Iyabo, why are you dressing like this?" I asked her one Saturday morning. She was wearing a wrapper tied low on her waist and a tight top that showed too much skin. She smiled at me. "Joyce, I'm a grown woman now. I need to look good. Besides, I'm trying to attract a husband. I can't stay single forever." Something in her smile made me uncomfortable, but I pushed the feeling away. Inside Lifeo.
Over the next few weeks, I tried to talk to my father. I begged him to see what was happening. I reminded him that Iyabo was my friend, that she was young enough to be his daughter, that people would talk. But my father had changed. He defended Iyabo at every turn. He said I was jealous, that I didn't want him to be happy, that I was being selfish. "Your mother is dead, Joyce," he shouted one evening. "She's not coming back. Iyabo makes me happy. She makes me feel alive again. Why can't you accept that?" I couldn't believe my ears. This wasn't the father I knew. The man who had loved my mother deeply. The man who had raised me with wisdom and care. Then one day, my father called a family meeting. His brothers and sisters came to the house, along with some elders from our community. I sat there, confused and worried. "I have an announcement,"
my father said. "I'm getting married to Iyabo." The room went silent. Then chaos erupted. "Brother, are you mad?" my uncle shouted. "This girl is your daughter's friend. She's young enough to be your child." "It's not right," my aunt added. "What will people say? Your wife just died." But my father wouldn't listen. He said he had made up his mind. He said Iyabo had brought light back into his life. I looked at Iyabo, who sat there with his small smile on her face, her hands folded in her lap like an innocent bride. Our eyes met, and in that moment, I saw something cold and calculating in her gaze, something I had never noticed before. The wedding happened 2 months later. It was a small ceremony. Most of our relatives refused to attend. I sat in the back, watching my former best friend become my stepmother.
After the wedding, life became unbearable. Iyabo moved into my mother's room, slept in my mother's bed, and wore my mother's jewelry. She acted like the queen of the house, ordering me around, criticizing everything I did. "Joyce, you didn't wash these plates properly," she would say. "Joyce, your room is too messy. Joyce, you came home too late." My father said nothing. He sat there like a man under a spell, agreeing with everything Iyabo said. One evening, I overheard Iyabo on the phone in the bedroom. I was passing by when I heard my name. "Yes, Mama," she was saying. "The plan worked perfectly. I told you that jazz you gave me was powerful. He follows me like a puppy now. Yes, I'm now the madam of this house. Joyce can't do anything. Her father listens only to me." My blood ran cold. I pressed my ear to the door. "The printing business is doing well. Soon, I'll convince him to put everything in my name. After all, I'm his wife now. What can Joyce do? She's just his daughter." I heard her laugh. That same high-pitched giggle that used to be friendly, but now sounded evil. I burst into the room. "So it's true. You used jazz on my father." Iyabo turned to me, her phone still in her hand. For a moment, fear flashed across her face. Then she smiled. "Prove it," she said simply. "Go ahead, Joyce. Tell your father. Let's see who he believes." She was right. When I told my father what I'd heard, he didn't believe me. He said I was making up stories because I was jealous. He said I was trying to destroy his happiness. "If you can't accept my marriage, then maybe you should find your own place to live," he told me. As months passed, I learned more about Iyabu's past. Neighbors from her old area told me stories. How her mother was known for using charms to trap men. How Iyabo had been trained in the same ways since she was young. How she had targeted older, comfortable men before, but had never succeeded like this. I remembered all the times Iyabo had asked questions about my father, his business, his properties, his bank accounts. All the time she had complained about being poor and needing a way out of poverty. I finally understood. Iyabo and her mother were birds of the same feather. They were hunters, and my family had been their prey. My friendship, my kindness, my trust, all of it had been a pathway to my father's house and his money. The saddest part was watching my father. He had become a shadow of himself. He no longer made decisions without asking Iyabo first. He had stopped seeing his old friends. He had transferred his business to Iyabo's name. He had changed his will. Some relatives whispered that it was jazz. Others said it was just foolishness. But I knew the truth. Iyabo had studied my father during all those visits to our house. She had learnt his weaknesses, his loneliness after my mother died, his need for care and attention. She had played her role perfectly. The grateful poor girl, the helpful friend, the caring companion, until she had him exactly where she wanted him. Today, 3 years later, Iyabo is still my stepmother. She and my father are still married. I moved out of the house and got my own apartment. I rarely visit, and when I do, I see a stranger living in my mother's place. My father looks older now, tired. Sometimes, when Iyabo is not around, I see a flash of the man he used to be. But it disappears quickly, like a light being switched off. I've learned hard lessons from this experience. That kindness can be mistaken for weakness. That some people see friendship as opportunity. That poverty can make people do terrible things. That not everyone who smiles at you wishes you well. People in the neighborhood whisper when I pass. That's the girl whose best friend married her father. Some pity me. Others say I was foolish to trust Iyabo so much. But the hardest truth I've had to accept is this. Birds of a feather truly flock together. Iyabo learned from her mother, just as I learned from mine. My mother taught me kindness, generosity, and trust. Iyabo's mother taught her manipulation, deception, and how to use jazz to trap men. We both became what we were taught to be. Sometimes I wonder if Iyabo ever feels guilty, if she ever remembers our friendship and feels shame. But then I remember that cold look in her eyes on my father's wedding day, and I know the answer. Some people will do anything to escape poverty, even betray their best friend, even use dark powers to trap an old man, even destroy a family. Iyabo got what she wanted: a comfortable house, money, security, a husband who obeys her every word. And I got a lesson I'll never forget. Be careful who you call your friend, because the person you help today might be planning to destroy you tomorrow. My name is Joyce, and this is my story. A story of friendship, betrayal, and jazz that turned my best friend into my stepmother. The end. Thank you for watching. Subscribe for more real stories.